Every day in America, millions of children go to bed hungry, or without having had a balanced diet during that past day, or knowing that there's a very real chance that tomorrow there might not be enough food to eat. And all of what I've just told you is true, and all of it is very offensive to someone like Bill O'Reilly, who loves America and is not going to believe, and is not going to stand for people saying that this could happen in his America. Let's watch.
What you call free stuff and what Jeb Bush calls free stuff that actually are necessities in life. So the problem with when he said free stuff is that he's talking about children getting food or working.
If you look at the studies of poverty, most poor people in this country have computers, have big screen TVs, have cars, have air conditioning. This myth that there are kids who don't have anything to eat is a total lie. And
it is absolutely not a lie.
It is absolutely a total lie on a mass level.
There are kids in New York City who go all weekend without anything to eat except when they eat in the schools.
That is such a biggest baloney. You produce one. You produce one.
I know. I know that because of the churches that I've worked with in New York City who serve those children.
I mean, there are food banks in these churches, and it goes back to the parents who are usually derelicts of some kind, and who squander the food stamps that come in, who sell them on the black market. This is insane. You're telling me that you believe in the United States of America, with all the entitlement programs and food stamps and everything else, there are urchins running around that don't have any food because of the system?
There are children.
No, it's their parents who are abusing them.
Their children, and being poor is not abuse. Actually, being poor is not child abuse. People have jobs.
I challenge you, and you can come on any night, to bring in here a family, all right, who can't feed their children, and I will put them on the air. You get find one.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Well, I'm glad he said that last part, because in the beginning I thought he meant like, find one right now, go out right now.
We'll wait.
Okay.
We'll wait.
Okay, so let's break this down. First, he says, no, there's been studies that show, every study shows that poor people don't actually exist. They all have big screen TVs. Really? Okay. All right, Bill, I'll write back at you. Show me that study. Right? Show me any study, let alone all studies on the poor, that say they all have big screen TVs.
Yeah.
And then they have this image of being poor as the Dust Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Like if you have a car, because you need a car to get a job, to go to your job, and it's the one car your whole family uses and you use it to get around because it's a big country, right? And it's an old beat up used car that is barely costs anything. Nope, you're rich, right? Because you're not eating dirt. Like their idea of poor is like, oh, there's a tornado just blew by, it's dusty, and the kids are grabbing dirt and eating it, right? But wait a minute, there's a building nearby with air conditioning. That's not poor, right?
Yeah, there's air conditioning. You mean that they don't die every summer? I think at least half should die every single summer. And you're talking about how like you don't have enough money, but you're driving to your job in your Geo Metro like the goddamn Sultan of Brunei. Who the hell are you to say that you're poor? He seriously thinks that if you have anything powered by electricity in your home, that you are some sort of emperor like in the days of old. And so if being poor is so goddamn amazing, why do you get paid so much? What's the point of all that money when you could have it made if you're doing minimum wage? He seriously, and by the way, so they always talk about how they've got the microwave, they've got a toaster oven, they're doing fine. And now they have to bring it to the next level. So the actual study shows that there's a good chance they have a TV. The studies don't say they have a big screen TV, but in his mind, every time he talks about this, the screen just keeps getting bigger and more high def.
Because, look, you have to remember, Bill O'Reilly and his audience are ancient. So the average age of his audience is 72 years old. So for them, poor was literally the Dust Bowl. When they were growing up, their parents would tell them stories about the Dust Bowl, etc. And back then, nobody had air conditioning. So that's a highfalutin invention of their lifetime, right? Yeah. And so they feel like, oh my God, if the poor have anything, they got a microwave. That is, what do I remember? I remember when my mom bought it, a microwave. And it was not even their mom. They brought it in and they amazed their family, right? Yeah. And so, no, but like these days, you know what you need a microwave for? To cook Hot Pockets, because it's the only thing you can afford, right? So,
microwave.
But now, look, that's a lot of anecdotal stuff. So let's give you numbers on it. And then I want to talk about his attack on, because if you notice, the character assassination everyone who's poor in the country.
Well, he even called the kids urchins, just in case the idea that he's effectively a character from a Dickens novel was remaining as subtext. He wants to put it right out there in the open.
That's right.
And then he put on a top hat. But no, in fact, when you look at the numbers, there are a significant number of children every day who experience food insecurity. 15.3 million children lived in food insecure households back in 2014. 20% or more of the child population in 38 different states and D.C. lived in food insecure households in 2013, according to the most recent data available. The District of Columbia and Mississippi had the highest rates of children in households without consistent access to food. Oh, look at Mississippi, a red state, interesting. In fiscal year 2013, by the way, and this is, I think, an important fact, 44% of all SNAP participants were children under age 18, because, of course, he's talking about entitlement programs and welfare programs, and we just cut SNAP billions of dollars. Remember, when you cut it, 44% under 18.
And so SNAP, by the way, is the acronym for what you would know as food stamps.
Yeah, supplemental nutrition and...
that's why I didn't try it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now it's the reason that they need school lunches, why they need food stamps, et cetera, is because without it, they wouldn't have any money for food.
Yeah.
So, and all the apocryphal stories about how they actually take it and they somehow use it at casinos and for strippers.
Sell it on the black market.
Right. And just like he said, there's all the parents' fault, right? They're deadbeats and they're selling this stuff on the black market. Now, is everybody who's poor in the country angels and they float on a cloud? No, of course not. Can you find one or two instances where somebody might have misused a food stamp? It'd actually be pretty hard because they're intended for a specific purpose and you'd have to cheat and have the other person cheat along with you to accept a food stamp at a casino. Yeah. But you probably could find one or two instances, right? But that's not what the overwhelming majority of people use it for. 44% of them go to kids who need the food.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, ironically, Bill O'Reilly, who hates those entitlement programs, then turns around and says, well, we have the entitlement programs, that's why no one is poor. Well, thank you very much. If that's the case and you agree with that, then you agree with liberal policies. Otherwise, they'd be even in worse shape. Yeah. There are already 15 million kids who have trouble, with their family has trouble giving them food, which meaning 3 meals a day, like everybody's used to, at a bare minimum, right? But without the programs, that number would be devastatingly high. And I guess Bill O'Reilly would be like, I got him. And that's what they get for having irresponsible parents who had the temerity to be poor.
Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, so this food insecurity, it means that you sometimes have to skip meals, or you're worried that you won't have enough food for meals, or that you eat things because it's all you can afford, even though it's scarcely food many times. That's why SNAP is so important, is because it's for specific types of food. But their idea is that if you get 1,500 calories a day, how could you ever complain? Even if your body is literally being destroyed over time by the meager food, the processed food that is all that some of these people can afford, even if, and I covered this in a final judgment a few months back, it's literally damaging the brain development of these children. They will be less intelligent when they grow up because of the food that they are required to eat. He said, again, you were talking about the derelicts. It's all the parents. To say that parents care more about their big screen TV than their kids being able to eat food. You're a parent. Imagine selling the kids food so that you could get a big screen TV. It is the most inhuman thing to assume about a person, and he does it easily, because when he sees that person in his mind, that person doesn't look at all like him.